knew I was in Vancouver. I guess the shows have been on over there. So I did, rather embarrassingly, just sort of walk up and down a few times, sort of looking at the list of films, going, this looks good. And eventually some people came over who said, excuse me, are you Steve Merchant? They had official looking tags around their necks. I thought, come on, hang on a minute, we're in here, aren't we? It couldn't have worked better. And so they said, we're working a video store and we're presenting one of the films. I thought, hang on a minute, here we go. I said, oh wow, I was really hoping to see that, but all the tickets are sold out. And he went, yeah, bad luck. And I thought, well, come on. I said, oh no, any chance you couldn't pull any strings? Because I'm basically ended with me begging a great big video store clerk for free tickets. Got in there, managed to bag a seat, very pleased. And I tell you, this film, it will knock your socks off. It is dynamite. It is Jean-Claude Van Damme, as I say, as himself, and it's a sort of art house film of sorts. It puts you in mind of things like Being John Malkovich. So it's a little bit postmodern, a little bit self-reflexive, plays on Jean-Claude's image, and he, I swear to God, is fantastic. He's unbelievable in it. He, I promise you, is award-winning. There's a sequence where he has to give a monologue and he has to cry and emote and be really sort of real and powerful, and he's brilliant, genuinely. And it's a great premise, as well as Jean-Claude has got all these problems based on his real-life problems. He goes back to Brussels to sort of chill out, and he gets caught up in a kind of bank heist, Dog Day Afternoon style bank heist, and everyone in the country thinks that Jean-Claude himself has fallen on hard times and is holding up the bank, but he's actually in there as a hostage. And it's sort of, does he use his kind of movie skills, within a real life situation? But it plays with that idea of, anyway, it's brilliant. But I thought this is going to completely revive Jean-Claude's career. And then I read this quote that he read, that he gave about his performance in the film, which I think in a way summarises my feelings towards my performance in The Tooth Fairy. Jean-Claude says, I really opened myself up. I peeled back the skin of the fruit, cut the pulp, and then took that very hard seed. In this film, I cut that hard seed, and inside that seed was a kind of liquid cream substance of the man I am. So that, again, as I say, summarises my feelings towards being a Tooth Fairy, almost identically. But aside from quotes like that, it's well worth seeing this film. I highly recommend it. Talking of recommendations, Rufus.
Steve, I won't go on for long, but this is a band that's been brought to my attention recently. He's called Herald Duke. He's based in Brighton, and this is a track off his first album. He is playing on the 3rd of November, which I think is Wednesday, at the Pavilion Theatre in Brighton with Fujiyama and Miyagi. And this is Herald Duke with Shudder.
Thank you. Oh, it's gone.
Oh,
it's gone. The system now is at a point where this system is the equivalent of Brandon Ross, in that it's actually trying to bring down the station, me.
Sometimes the
Rufus.
studio on its own just rings random people up and leaves hilarious messages on its answer. Ghostly messages.
I feel bad for Gordon
4C.
Kay.
I think you've got about 3 minutes grace because you did the public service thing
Yeah.
of JCVD, and you told people why they should go and see it.
Yeah.
It was cultural help and all that sort of thing. So I think you've won yourself a bit of grace. It's sort of ebbing away.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the level at sort of there. It's about a foot, and it's just dropping.
Talking of public service broadcasting, 17 minutes to 5. Currently 17 minutes to 5. We'll try it again. What was it again?
It's Herald Duke with Shudder.
It's alright, I'll cut this bit out. There we are, that's Rufus's choice on this week's Steve Show, and I enjoyed it enormously. Rufus, what was it?
Good, it was Herald Duke, and the track was Shudder. The whole album was really good, actually. I recommend it. Go to MySpace, and I couldn't quite work out what his address is, but put Herald Duke, which is spelled Herelduke, Herald Duke. Put that into MySpace and you'll come up with his site. You can buy his album there.
Public service broadcasting at its very best. It's fast approaching 10 to 5. Steve Show, any other public service announcements, just to try and legitimise our involvement here with the BBC?
I can do a good review of a show I went to see last night.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called Le Clique. It's mostly circus, freak show, that sort of thing. But there is a man who is in a bathtub in a pair of jeans, and I've got to say, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I was sweating, I was red, I actually stood up in a crowd of people and just cheered and clapped and screamed. It was amazing.
There's a man in a bath wearing some jeans.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, that's what I was mainly focusing on. He's athletic, there's ribbons, and he's good in other ways. But there was nudity, there was jokes, singing, swallowing of table legs. I have to say, altogether, a very good show.
Sounds like a typical Steve show. I'm joking, of course. There's little nudity. Where is this on up in the north? Because no one's
No,
interested.
it's actually on in London.
Oh, it's on in London. Oh, thank goodness for that.
The Hippodrome.
There's no spare money up north for people to go spending on fancy
public
shows.
service.
Yeah, sorry,
Public
yeah.
service,
We
mate.
love the north and all that it stands for. And good luck. Good luck through this difficult time. One of the other things about my driver in Vancouver was he listens to
That's horrible.
listens to a country station constantly, non-stop country music, and I don't have a problem with country music. I like country music, but there comes a time where certain tunes start to grate, and I managed to track one of the tunes down that was on this station. That, I mean, yeah, have a listen and see why you might feel that over time it could get a little bit annoying. Again, this is the fine-tuning and nicely written, but something about the lyrics that just start to get maybe a bit repetitive.
Steve, public service, come on.
Rufus has just given me a mime, and I think I understand now exactly what little bit is are. Anyway, there we are. I think his name's Alan Jackson or something, if you want to dig him out. And yeah, as I say, absolutely. An absolute joy. Good to hear that. I'm not annoyed at all. Yeah, dug out a couple of fun tunes while I was away. I'm sure many of you have already enjoyed Jenny Lewis's new album, Acid Tongue. But from it, if you've not, here's Godspeed.
No good, no how, no man should treat you like he do. The lighthouse inside, Godspeed to you.
From her current album, Acid Tongue, that's Jenny Lewis. We'll have a tune from Harry after we've heard from this.
BBC Six Music this Friday.
BBC Six Music.
Steve Show, Six Music with me, Steve Bush, and my little gang here. Musical choice from Harry.
Yeah, well, it's been a long 3 months, Steve, and when I haven't been crying into my spreadsheets and weeping as my career imploded around me, I was seeking out new music. Looking out for some new stuff, trawling America for new bands, which is pretty much what I do. And I came across Snake Flower 2.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's a dreadful band name, I think. They used to be called Snake Flower, and then they broke up. And then he formed a new band, the lead singer, and just decided to put a 2 on the end of it. So
Why not?
I think it's a good idea if bands who change their members just, add a number to their name to indicate. 'Cause you get a lot of those tribute bands now, and it would make things a lot clearer if it was, Fleetwood Mac 73.
Sure.
It'd be good. But Snake Flower 2 are the name of the band out of Oakland, California, and this track's called I Woke Up in a Dream.
Thank you.
You got a little dish and you got a little bitty house and a little bitty yard, a little bitty dog and a little bitty car.
Never going to get annoying there. Musical choice from Harry on the Steve Show. Tell us again what it was, Harry.
That was I Woke Up in a Dream by Snake Flower 2. If you liked that, I urge you to buy the album, which is available almost exclusively from their MySpace site, and it's called Renegade Daydream.
Thank you very much indeed. More public service announcements. You may or may not be aware that Cliff Richard is teaming up again with the Shadows for the first time in 20 years. I know this because my parents visited yesterday, and my father said, "Oh, Elaine, the Shadows getting together with Cliff Richard again." She went, "Oh, I'd love to see the Shadows, but no, I don't really care about Cliff Richard, not interested in seeing Cliff Richard." And ended up being a long discussion about how annoyed she was that she'd have to see Cliff Richard in order to see the Shadows. Couldn't help but feel that maybe she's had 20 years to see the Shadows sans Cliff. And that probably this is not the best time to be queuing. I think you're not allowed to queue up, are you, to get tickets outside of Sheffield Arena or something? Which
They're
one
worried
is
about
before?
old ladies dying of the cold and
Is that- are they?
exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can just stay at home and die of the cold and exposure because of all the expensive bills and everything.
Satire.
But Cliff now lives with a Roman Catholic priest.
Oh, don't.
No, he does. I'm not. This is not.
edgy?
No, it's not edgy. It's
It
not
is
edgy. I
edgy.
wouldn't
It is
dare be
edgy.
edgy.
Let me tell you, it's edgy.
BBC's policy on edgy.
What?
edgy
How
to
is
me.
that? How is in any way talking about Cliff Richard edgy?
Well, no,
the
that
twinkle.
statement in itself isn't edgy, but the you know, the conversation that might follow
Right.
has the potential.
I
to be
defy
edgy.
why. There's no reason to be edgy. Why is it edgy to
I'm
say?
opting out. I'm opting
Yeah.
out.
There's no reason to. How is
No,
it edgy?
I'm out
that-
as well.
I'm
Yeah,
out.
me and you, Ruth, I'm out.
Any
Yeah.
new music,
Right.
Steve?
In his new book, right, his autobiography, Cliff just happens to mention how he's got a friendship now with a former Catholic priest who lives with him and takes care of his house and stuff when he's away. Why is that? Why? That's not edgy. That's not in
That
any
isn't
way edgy.
No, that's fact. And
it
then
would be edgy if we phoned them up and started leaving, certain kinds of messages. But we're not.
We
That's not going
wouldn't
to
do
happen.
that.
So we're not being edgy. I'm just saying, and this is interesting. So Cliff's got
there's
an
not,
autobiography.
there's not a working phone in the studio anyway. They've had to take them all out.
Of course they have, yeah. Sir Cliff is there, probably at home now with the fella, and it's not edgy. I'm just telling you, his autobiography is available, and this might be interesting to you if you're a Cliff fan. It's public service broadcasting.
Yeah.
At its very best.
Any new music, Steve?
Yes, there is new music. You turned me on to this band, She and Him. You're a big fan. The actress Zoe Deschanel and M. Ward teamed up together. Zoe will be singing the forthcoming Jim Carrey comedy, and M. Ward probably just, I don't know, doing other stuff.
In Uncut. or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Anyway, it's a cracking tune. It's a dynamite album. She and Him and the track Why Do You Let Me Stay Here. If you've only just started tuning into the Steve Show, then you may not be aware that we like to cast our ears over big new releases, give our opinion, fills up the last 25 minutes of the show, and also a good opportunity for us as well. We've been away to familiarise ourselves with a couple of the big hitters that we may have overlooked, and we'll start with this one. I'm intrigued to hear it. I know a lot of people have talked about it. We all know the story. What is it, 15 years in the making, 5 producers, $10 million or something. But anyway, hear from his it's basically just him now, isn't it? Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy. I've not heard it. Let's have a listen. So 15 years in the making, and I've not. That's the first time I've heard any of the new Guns N' Roses material. Chinese Democracy, which, as I say, cost him a fortune to make. Obviously, none of the old gang are on there. It's just Axl, and people have been saying as well that it's a lot of it sort of studio. Obviously, it's all studio made, but it's electronic jiggery pokery going on. I thought you people would be
probably
up
should
on
have
that.
checked that out, actually.
Yeah, well, I've been away. I've not had time. I've been busy.
Well, I think what it is a lot of the songs were obviously recorded a long time ago with like analog equipment with valves and what have you, so they had to update it so it all sounds the same.
Sure. Thanks very much indeed.
Good.
That's just a wild guess.
That's true.
Okay. Well, let's get your opinion straight away. Get your feedback.
Well, it's all right, isn't it? But it was 15 years, and unless you've invented a new musical instrument, or
Yeah, a different note.
or you're singing out of another orifice, you've trained yourself
Yeah.
to do something completely different, then you can't ever justify 15 years. And that's just rock music. That's not very difficult. That's got a structure, and it's just easy. But I'm
So
annoyed with him.
if it were buy Chinese Democracy and get a free new colour, well, then that would be interesting.
That would be okay.
Yeah.
If the inlay was on a different, brand new coloured background,
Yeah.
then you could justify it.
I suspect this is going to be an opinion that's probably going to be shared by Rufus.
You're right, Steve. I'm very much of Harry's opinion. It's going to be what fans want. Old Guns N' Roses fans are going to love it. And there were moments where I felt like I was riding a motorbike along a freeway without a helmet on, and I love feeling like that. As
Dangerous.
You know.
That's very dangerous.
Public service always wear a helmet.
Always wear a helmet.
But there's the accusation levelled at the character of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in the film. Too many notes. Someone says so. Too many notes about one of his pieces of music, and there's too much twiddly guitar over the vocals. I thought so you can't really hear either. Not a particularly astute observation, but one nonetheless I'm going to stand by.
It could be though, Ruth, that the message he was trying to convey 15 years ago, he no longer believes in. So he's had to put some twiddly guitar over the top.
He's had to cover it up.
to obscure his thoughts.
Yeah.